State University on this Monday night. It's the Fred McNair radio show. Coming up on tonight's program, we'll recap all the action as the Braves set a Jack Spinks Marino Castle Stadium record, winning 78-0 over Louisiana College. We'll break it all down for you. We'll have the SWAC report, and we'll talk Texas Southern football. We'll hear from their head coach Mike Haywood on the program. He'll join us a little bit later on. Join us 601-877-6595. You can tweet a question at Tall Man Radio. We have a couple of tweets that have come in. You can text a question at area code 601-348-7254. 601-348-7254. And you can email a question as well. cedmond@allcorn.edu. A lot to get to on the program. We'll get it started, and it will include you. Join us for the Fred McNair Radio Show. We'll get it started in 2 minutes on the Alcorn Football Radio Network.
So you haven't washed your lucky socks since that fourth quarter comeback 5 years ago. At C Spire, we get it. You'll do anything to help your team win, just like anything we do is inspired by you. We're your biggest fan, lucky socks and all. From business to home to wireless, our inspiration is always you. C-Spire, customer inspired. Step up to #1 and get Amazon Prime on us. Details at cspire.com.
It's important to plan ahead for emergencies, like the storm. When it kicked in, we had a plan. We were able to get in touch with each other in no time. The whole experience was fine. The most frightening 10 hours of my life. If there's one piece of advice I'd offer other moms out there, it's to stay calm and keep to the plan.
Some parents plan ahead, some don't. Make sure you know where to find your family in an emergency. Visit beready.iowa.gov. Brought to you by Ready Iowa, FEMA, and the Ad Council.
The Jefferson Comprehensive Health Center, with 2 locations to serve you: 405 Main Street in Fayette, Mississippi, and 145 Homewood Sugar Street in Natchez, Mississippi. Service provided: medical, dental, flu shots, transportation, family planning, wood service and nutrition, and affordable health care enrollment center, plus much, much more. Give them a call at 601-786-3475, the Fayette office, and 601-442-4863, the Natchez office. Jefferson Comprehensive Health Center, where your health is our business. Check them out at the web at www.jeffersoncomprehensivehealthcenter.com.
And welcome back to the Fred McNair Radio Show on this Monday night. Good evening to one and all. I'm Charles Edmond. To my left, Braves head football coach Fred McNair, our producer in Studio A, the one and only Jamario Brooks. Give us a call, 601-877-6595. You can tweet a question, Tall Man Radio. You can text a question, 601-348-7254. And you can email a question, cedmond@allcorn.edu. Braves victorious, setting a Jack Spinks Marino Castle Stadium record with the most points scored in that stadium, and opened it up in 1992. 78 points, the second most in school history. 101 was the record. Paul Quinn back in the day, I think back in the 40s, Coach McNair, you were around for that game?
Way before me. It's a long time.
Good evening, Coach. How you doing?
I'm doing great, Tom.
I know you're a lot better considering we won the game, and all in all, we scored a bunch of points. Offense, defense, special teams all contributed, and that's what you want. You want all 3 phases clicking, and all 3 phases contributed.
And basically, Charles, anytime when you get it going like that, you're doing an excellent job as a team to get all 3 phases of the game very active. Offensive, I think we did a great job of executing and moving the ball, and defense played a steady ball game, and they played fast, and some things that we expected. And special teams, I think Corey did a great job when he had to punt 3 times. He averaged 51 yards in punting, so some things we still got to get better at. I think we had a block punt for a touchdown in the game. So I think we're on the right track. We just got to make sure we're doing everything in the coach's power to make sure we're doing everything right for the young men as they play this game.
You played 4 quarterbacks. Other than the quarterback, 7 different individuals ran the football. So a total of 11 guys ran the football total when you add the quarterbacks that are in there. So offensively, I mean, you really had it all going. Noah Johnson was a deep ball, and you got a lot of guys involved running the football. So I think all in all, offensively, I mean, it was on go from the start.
Not knowing the plan and going into the game, Charles, we were just going to stay our game plan and run it. But when it got out of hand, we saw fit to where we can get some of these young guys in to give them the playing time experience. And, because some of these guys are our scout team players, Charles, and they do such a great job during the week of getting us good looks of the opposition team, just to get them in and see them play. And it was exciting for me and the coaching staff. At least we see some of the young men get out there and play in game situations and execute the plays as called is the biggest thing. Sometimes when you got guys on the scout team, they don't get a chance to really see the true offense or the true defense. But other than just being in the meeting room with the coaches, but I thought they did a great job in some places that gave us a chance to be successful.
When you got it going offensively when you score on 12 of 15 possessions.
Well, that's one of the things that we hopefully continue the rest of the year, Charles. Just scoring every possession, coming out with the opening and just scoring every possession. That's what you really want. But in some cases, it don't happen. We have to punt and let the defense play. We know we got a real steady defense, and Coach Thornton, what he's doing on defense is very exciting. A lot of movement, Charles, and those guys are really grabbing hold to what he's teaching schematically on defense. So I think he's doing a great job over there. Offense, we're just going to continue to do what we do. And I think Coach Stanchek and that staff over there is doing a great job as well of putting these players in position to make plays.
When you look at the defense, I mean, I thought we were jumping routes, we were stripping balls. I think in the first couple of possessions, they had their tight end open, quarterback who was a West Texas A&M transfer, and we talked about it during the game. He arrived on campus there late. He was only 3 of 7 at West Texas A&M last year, so you know about Bano. And he had his tight end open, but he didn't hit him early on, and we were able to get them off the field.
Yeah, and that's the thing that as a staff, you kind of draw up cards and really players understand where this play is going. I think they paying attention to details now, Charles, and I think that's one of the things that, as a coaching staff, that you want the kid to understand. We put you in a position to make this play, and so that's exactly what's happening. And I think Brady Smith got to hit him a big tight end right there in the opening and get us off the field. That's the thing that as coaches that we try to teach them. Just play the play that's called and understand the concept of what they're trying to do on offense.
So let's look at some of the action here. And it always starts with the chess match with the coin toss. We won the toss and deferred. Talk about that.
Well, just give our defense a chance to play and get their feet wet, Charles. And I think they was biting at the bits for that. And that's something we talked about before the pregame meal. As a staff, we always have a staff meeting before the pregame meal and get the coaches together and kind of get our thoughts on what we're going to do with the coin toss. And we decided to play defense, and I think we made a good choice of that. So got them out there, and they got a 3 and out, and we're ready to block a punt for a touchdown.
Yeah, just talk about that, because Jonathan Howard was the special teams player of the week in the Southwestern Athletic Conference, and he was all over the place on special teams. And I remember Jonathan since he was a little kid, and we call him, at least, I don't know if they still call him John. Do they still call him that?
He's still John.
He's still John, okay.
And he's a special team nightmare, Charles, and that's one thing that we always emphasize with him, special teams, and he really do a great job of running down and making plays on special teams, and so happened there he got in and got that block on the punt there, and Alvin was able to scoop it up and score. So he's a great player. The thing about him, John, we don't have any problem with John. John is a very humble young man, and he do what he told, and that's it. At the end of the day, he's a satisfied person. But he give all he got when he has on the field. And we respect that as coaches when a player like that. And he's a walk-on, Charles. And that's the thing that we try to keep around those kids that they're going to help us in the long run. And he's been one of them. He's a senior this year, so he's paid his dues. And being him out there, they actually had 3 catches in the ball game as well. So, he's a kid that we rely on special teams.
You don't talk about walk-ons very much, in any program, how many, on average, would you say, how many walk-ons have we had per season the last few years?
Well, we have a lot. Even Orlando Bill was a walk-on, Charles. He's a walk-on. Those guys like that, they come out and walk on and show us they can play and be humble and do the things they actually do, and they're gonna contribute sooner or later. So those are the type of kids that we look for. That's gonna come out and do what we ask of them and do the thing within their character and play football. When you find players like that, you want to keep them around. And every now and then you have some stuff left over, you want to give it to them. Just show them that you appreciate them. And that's what we do as a coaching staff. We always try to find those good young men that want to come out and be a great walk-on for us. And sooner or later, like I said, they'll play.
Highball the number. Is it maybe 6 on average per year that there are walk-ons on a football team?
Yeah, Charles, we got 63 scholarships, Charles. So we got 105 players out there now. So imagine the rest of them is walk-on.
Wow.
And my hat's off to those young men, and I just want to personally thank them, and because they don't have to do that. They're here to go to school. They don't have to come out and walk on, but they feel like they can make this team, and that's where they're at, And as a coaching staff, you really appreciate it because now you can build your scout team and all that kind of stuff, a special team, scout team. All those things pays into what we do as a football team, as a football program, with those young men, and what we receive, they will receive the same thing, So I just hope that they just continue to stay with us and trust the coaching staff and believe in us. And if they stay, they'll play. And one day they'll be champions, Charles. That's the way it works. So I'm very proud of those young men that works on for us.
And I heard a coach say, if you stay, you'll play, and if you play, you'll be champions. I don't know, I can't remember where I heard that. It was the last few years. Well, John with the block, Alvin Wilson with the fumble recovery for the touchdown, and then after another 3 and out, and the Braves got the football, Noah Johnson to Rodarius Anderson going deep on the first offensive play. Talk about that.
Well, that's the thing that, we talked about as an offensive coaching staff. We just got to stretch the field out. We got the guys to do it, so we're going to continue to do those things. It was just a simple go route. And Darius got on top of him, and Noah threw the ball well, and it fell right in the bucket, Charles. We call it drop it in the bucket. And so it was a great play for us, and hopefully we'll be able to see more of that, with the guys we got. I think that the receiving core that we got now, we missed Charles Hughes this weekend, and he had to take the MCAT test, and thank God, I hope he did really well on that because he's a young man that actually, Charles, he wasn't no money either. He was an academic guy. And we respectfully that of him because he's done a great job throughout his years. And the past year he was contemplating on not playing, but he decided to come back, and play this last year. So he's going to be a great addition for us on that receiving corps. Supposed to start last week, and hopefully he'll get a chance to start this week against Texas Southern.
So with that Rodarius Anderson touchdown, it was 7-0, and then the defense got involved. It was 14-0 at that point. And then Melvin Young III, he was there featured back. A loss of 4, fumbled, recovered by Solomon Muhammad. So talk a little bit about that when you look at the defense. So offense, defense, and special teams in the first 3 minutes of the game contributing.
Well, and that's the way you want to play, really, Charles. If defense continues to score and get turnovers and we capitalize on those things, Charles, that's what you want. And I thought we did a great job of running to the ball and taking the ball away from those guys, and so that's one thing that Coach Plum do in practice. We do fumble drills and takeaway drills and things of that nature just to create turnovers in the course of the game. So they did a great job, and Solomon did a great job of covering that fumble.
P.J. Simmons with the touchdown, a 9-yard touchdown run, so it was 21-0 just like that. Then we added another touchdown as Noah Johnson to Chris Blair, 14 yards. Nifty running there for Chris Blair, and then Noah Johnson put that one on the numbers.
Yeah, that's a kid that had a great camp and been good for us, Charles. And he's a very humble young man as well, and he's going to do a great job for us. And good route runner, and actually he's a good leader too, Charles. And he leads by example of the things, the ways work helps in practice.
So it was 27-0 at the end of the first quarter. It's 15 minutes after 6 o'clock. We'll take a break. We'll be right back. Have a couple of tweets and some texts to get to. We'll mix those in. Call us anytime, 601-877-6595. If you have a question for Braves head football coach Fred McNair. Later, we'll have the SWAC report, and we'll look ahead to Texas Southern, and we'll hear from their head coach, Mike Haywood. TSU lost to Texas State over the weekend, and they've had a couple of quarterbacks to play in their situation. So we'll be talking about that later with Coach Mike Haywood. Braves fans, be sure to mark your calendars for the 2018 Celebration Bowl. The fourth annual event will once again match the SWAC and MEAC. It'll be held Saturday, December 15th at the Mercedes-Benz Dome in Atlanta. More information will be available soon on hotel and ticket info. For more information, you can visit celebrationbowl.com. We'll take a break. We'll be right back after this 1-minute timeout here on the Fred McNair Radio Show.
WPRL 91.7 FM, Alcorn Public Radio, broadcasting from the campus of Alcorn State University. WPRL invites
People
our
keep
listeners
asking
to
about
join
the
us
apparel
each and
deal.
every day for the listening gospel, jazz,
I'll just say we have no information.
WPRL Sports Radio Network. WPRL is on the World Wide Web at WPRL.org. WPRL, it's a family affair. Charles Evans, Operation Manager. Shay Miles, Gospel Music Director, System Analyst and Internship Supervisor. Myrtle Hedrick, Secretary and Traffic Director and Chair of the Mass Communications Club. Jamario Chavez Brooks, R&B announcer and producer. WPRL, your community-minded radio station where it's a family affair.
And welcome back to the Fred McNair Radio Show. Alcorn needs your support now more than ever. Show your Alcorn pride. Support our champions and scholars all year long through the Always Alcorn Annual Fund. Make your gift today. Help us continue fielding leaders for the future. Call 601-877-6296 or visit their website, alcorn.edu/foundation. All right, as we look at the second quarter of Fred McNair, when you look at the first quarter, we had 64 yards passing, 74 yards rushing. At Louisiana College, 9 rushes for a negative 32 yards in that first quarter. Very rarely do you have that type of large deficit in terms of running the football, but our defense coach just really batten down the hatches on these guys.
And they were, Charles. They were relentless, Charles. They played an excellent ball game throughout the whole course of the game, you know. Hopefully that will continue to do that and just play the way we've been playing.
So the Braves added another score in the second, 34-0, as Noah Johnson with a 5-yard run. Just talk about Noah Johnson's ability to move around in the pocket, turn it upfield. I know he plays it safe, he goes down, doesn't want to get hit, but how much freedom and latitude does he have when he gets out of that pocket?
You have a lot, and that's one thing that we try to teach him, to make sure that he keep himself healthy when he's outside the pocket. Make sure he get down and slide or whatever it takes to stay free from a hard hit. And, you know, that's the thing that we have to really teach him, because he always feel like if he can do something extra, normal time when you're doing that, something bad going to come out of it, turnover or get hurt. But hopefully, you know, he'll continue to do what he's been doing as far as when he's outside the pocket.
So it was 34-0, and then Guth had a punt blocked, and blocked by Alan Bruce. So a lot of different guys, and we'll talk about it on the defensive side. You look at the defensive individual totals, it's like a laundry list of who's who. Just about everyone got involved in the action at one point in the game. But talk about Bruce as he had the block, the second block for the Braves.
Bruce is a steady player for us. He's one of the guys that's going to play a lot of special team for us as well, you know, at the same as corner. Been doing a pretty solid job for us throughout the whole course of camp and up until now, when he was able to get in and get a block punt throughout this game, Charles, and hopefully he'll stay steady for us and be ready to play it all the time.
So that drive, after that block started at the Wildcats' 10-yard line, had to settle for a McCullough field goal. So he's done all the kicking so far through a couple of games, and I know you've been saying that at some point we'll have some other kickers in the fold.
Yeah, that was one of the points that I made during the course of the spring and also during the course of camp. We did get a chance to get Beto in to kick off a little bit this past game. We're just working him in slowly, and I think he's coming along pretty good for us.
So it was 37-0 with that field goal. Then Felix Harper getting him in the ball game. When you have it going like that, it's how much reps do the ones get versus the twos? So at that point, you brought Felix Harper in, and he was productive.
Yeah, you want to try to keep the offense steady together as well as defense too, Charles, not substitute too many players at one time. So we kind of keep Felix in with the ones as well in that situation right there, Charles, and just give him some work and see can he execute his way as Noah do. And did a pretty good job for us, Charles, as a backup. And that's what you want to see early in the course of the year, especially before you get into your conference, and see how well these guys can execute the offense and do all those things of that nature. So I thought that he did a great job of executing the offense the way it was called.
We played 4 quarterbacks. So what's the biggest upside when we look at Felix Harper, because he possibly going to be the future, the Braves quarterback position? What is his upside?
He's very small in stature, Charles. That's the thing. But he throws the ball really well, Charles. And I think he run RPO just as well as anybody. And that's one thing that he really brings to the table, the things he can do. And he's a very elusive guy too, and that's another one you have to just tell to make sure he's keeping healthy and sliding when he get in traffic. So, but the biggest thing with him, I think he throws the ball very well and do a great job of throwing the ball.
So with Felix Harper in the game, he was able to make some things happen. The Braves added a touchdown to make it 44-0, and then Felix Harper a 2-yard run, and Felix Harper to Tavares Johnson for 15 yards. And I'm so happy for Tavares, just waiting for his opportunity. You talk about confidence, and he's on social media. I follow him. He talks about his confidence and just staying on the up and up, and was glad to see him get a touch, especially 1 for 6.
And that was big for him to get a chance to get out there and make a play like he did, and just for confidence building. Now going into the next ball game, Charles, he's going to be a whole lot better. Even at practice today, he was flying around and doing the things he needed to get done. So I think that's the biggest thing with him early, is having his confidence in himself, and we as coaches always try to push him to just let it come to you. I don't try to overdo it. That's the biggest thing with him. He presses himself too much, and he exerts a lot of energy in doing that. And so that's the biggest thing with him.
How tough is it for a football player, or an athlete for that matter, to find that balance? If you don't do it enough, you get hurt. Hurt meaning that it hurts your ability to move forward. But if you go and overthink it, it hurts. So how do you come up with that balance?
Well, it's kind of tough. It's different for all players, Charles. And some of them is workaholics, and the more they do it, the better they get. And some, you just got to limit them to things. And I think TJ, he's kind of a limited person, but he works hard. And that's the biggest thing with him. He works hard, but he just kind of don't get too fatigued and tired. I think that's his biggest thing. When he get fatigued and tired, he kind of lose confidence and lose yourself in that mode. But that's one you have to just really put restriction on a little bit and not give him too much, and so he won't exert himself and get tired. But most people strive on working hard and all that.
So it's 51-0 at the break. You had 155 yards, and Louisiana College just 14 yards passing, a -8 yards rushing. So they had a total of 6 yards through the first half. So 155-6 in the first half and 51 points. That says a lot.
It does, Charles, and like I said, I know the caliber players that's in that league too, Charles. I used to recruit for Division III when I was at Millsaps, and you do find great players in that division. And I thought there was a solid team that we played, Charles, in Louisiana College, and I think that we came out fast, and we were very physical coming off the Georgia Tech ball game. That kind of gave us a little more edge, because that was their first ball game too, Charles. So we was already up on them as far as being physical and playing fast. I think that one of the things that we got out of the Georgia Tech game was being more physical than our opponent and playing faster.
So it's 58-0 at the end of the first half. We'll take a break. We'll look at the third quarter. A bunch of players got involved, including a couple of quarterbacks, a bunch of running backs. We'll talk about all of that coming up here as the Fred McNair radio show rolls on. The time is 24 minutes after 6 o'clock. Of course, Alcorn State University and Jack Spinks Marino Casem Stadium have a clear bag policy. And if you want to purchase an Alcorn clear tote bag, it comes in 2 shapes. There's a clear tote and a drawstring tote. The clear tote is $10. The drawstring tote is $5. For more information, you can contact the Office of Athletic Development at 601-443-1881 or 601-877-2470. Larry Smith is over Athletic Development. You can send him an email for more info, lsmith@allcorn.edu. We'll take a break. We'll be right back after this. Time out.
WPRL 91.7 FM has always tried to stay one step ahead of the curve. We've done it again with a new and improved website, WPRL.org. It's got all the latest national and local news, as well as your favorite WPRL shows and personalities. From these Worthy to be Praised gospel program with Jay Miles to Jazzy Jazz and R&B with Jamario Brooks, student shows, and of course, all of your Alcorn State University sports broadcasts. You can listen to WPRL.org from your cell phone or tablet, Android or Apple. Just go to TuneIn Radio and type in Life 91.7 WPRL in the search box. Anytime, anywhere, any source, desktop, laptop, cell phone or tablet, WPRL has you covered. For more information, call 601-877-6290. All of this from 91.7 WPRL and on WPRL.org.
And welcome back to the Fred McNair Radio Show. It's 26 minutes after the hour. Magnolia Bluffs Casino Hotel is the place to be. Book your stay today at their newly renovated hotel. Enjoy a full gaming experience with over 400 slots, 16 table games, and a live poker room. Magnolia Bluffs also houses 3 fantastic dining experiences. Try their prime cut steakhouse with the best view on the Mississippi River, their sports-themed bistro, or the bandsaw buffet featuring an all-you-can-eat seafood buffet for $16.75. For more information, go to Magnolia Bluffs Casino, all one word, magnoliabluffscasino.com. All right, Coach McNair, as we checked the Twitter feed, obviously we had an injury in the first game with Waller, and then Bowles went down. Tweet from TJ Warren. What's the status on Waller and Bowles as we get ready for Texas Southern?
Well, Waller, he did a little running today. We just gonna be patient with him and see how he feels at the end of the week. And Jaquavian Bowles, I think he got maybe a sprained MCL. He just came from the doctor today. I think that's what they said. They're gonna do further tests on him. I think in the next couple of days and with an MRI and see the extent of his injury. But right now, just a sprained MCL. Hopefully, just keep praying for that, and that's all it is.
It's been tough for Alcorn football and tight ends. We've had our share of injuries at that position, unfortunately.
Yeah, you talk about one tight end that we thought we was going to have this year in Campbell, and now he back on the IR, and then now with Jaquavian Bowl, it's been tough. That's why we recruited a bunch of tight ends this time. So our personnel called for tight ends. So sometimes we have to recruit tight ends. I think we recruited a bunch of tight ends this year, and we got a bunch of them that's going to play probably. So one go down, next man up. So we have to keep them moving.
All right, so as we look at the third quarter, Coach McNair, Marquise Foreman had a bunch of carries, as well as Trey Turner in the backfield. Talk about the running styles, if you will, with Foreman as well as Trey Turner.
I tell you what, you got a thunder and lightning, Charles. You got in Marquise Foreman, he's the lightning flashy back. It's gonna give you the ooh and the woos and all that kind of stuff. And
the what?
The oohs and the woos. That's what the crowd want to see.
I like that.
So that's what he gonna give you. So, but Trey Turner's gonna be that power back, and you're gonna look and just squinch up, and he's gonna run over somebody. That's one back that we got. I never seen him go backwards. He always fall forward. So that's what you want in a lane in Trey Turner. So he's gonna be a good back for him.
So Trey Turner, a 9-yard run to make it 58-0. Then we added another touchdown as Marsh rushed for 4 yards, and then Peyton. That is Peyton in the ball game. So now we play 3 quarterbacks. So let's talk about Peyton. This is his first action this season.
Well, I'm glad to see him in, Charles. He's done a great job during the course of his year here, and he's doing a great job and giving the scout teams a look as well. And that's one thing that our quarterback does. And they're gonna throw the ball, and they're gonna do what we ask him to do. And I think that he deserved that, and I'm glad to see him in the game and getting a touchdown.
So then, the Peyton pass to Pringle for 47 yards. So talk about Pringle.
Pringle's here last year with us. He got a little playing time for us last year, and he's one of the slot guys that's going to be inside a little bit. He's a steady player, smart kid, and he's a heady ball player. He's going to do a great job for us as well this year.
So we'll take a break here. We'll look at the final scores coming up after this timeout as we approach the halfway mark of the Fred McNair Radio Show. We'll be back after this 1 minute timeout. We'll get the SWAC report in. We'll talk more about this game, put a capper on it, and get ready for Texas Southern. The Maroon Tigers will be here for a 6 o'clock game on High School and Community Colleges Day. Over 3,000 individuals have registered for High School Day, so it should be a fun evening at Spinks Castle Stadium. We'll take a 1 minute break. We'll be right back.
A promise was made. A promise that hit the beaches of Normandy. A covenant that split the skies over Berlin. A vow that captured Iwo Jima. A promise was made. A solemn oath that liberated Seoul. A sacred trust that defended Quezon. A pact that dug in Da Nang. A contract that weathered Tet. A promise was made. A pledge that stormed the desert in Iraq. A bond that patrolled door to door in Fallujah. An IOU that braved IEDs in Kandahar. A promise was made to America's veterans. A promise we all must keep. DAV fights for all veterans and their families so they get the health care, financial benefits, and support they earn. If you're a veteran who needs help, or you'd like to help us keep the promise, visit DAV.org.
WPRL 91.7 FM, broadcasting from the campus of Alcorn State University.
All right, halfway through the Fred McNair Radio Show on this Monday night. Don't forget Texas Southern, Mike Haywood and the TSU Tigers come to town. They've had some injuries at the quarterback position. You'll hear from him coming up in a little bit here as he'll talk about Alcorn, and Coach Fred McNair will talk about Texas Southern. And it's always been a dogfight the last few years when we played Texas Southern. I think 2 years ago we played them on our homecoming. It came down to special teams. And then P.J. Simmons had an outstanding game over at Compass Stadium, and they had a 96-yard kickoff return. So special teams could be something to deal with, obviously, and we're going to deal with Woodard, Brad Woodard. We're going to be dealing with him, one of the better unsung running backs in this conference. So we'll talk all about that coming up a little bit later. Show your brave pride at home or at the office with the Alcorn State back-to-back SWAC Champions Replica Trophy. Replica trophies are $20 each and make a great Christmas gift or desktop paperweight. Order your replica trophy online today for $20. You can go online, alcorn.edu/foundation. Shipping and handling charges will apply. For more information, call 601-877-2470. Proceeds benefit Alcorn football. All right, Coach McNair, 65-0 at one point. We talked about Pringle. And then let's look at some other running backs. You got Marsh getting involved. And I guess the difference when the score gets like this, and fans talk about it, and we've been on the wrong end of these type of games, unfortunately. When it's like that, you want to have your guys continue to play football. And the difference between running up the score and just playing football, to me, there was nothing wrong about it. Guys just want to get out and play because who knows when some of the threes and the fours are going to see action again. So this was an opportunity for everyone to play, and they all want to show what they can do.
And that's exactly right. That's one thing we talked about, Charles, that the young guys, when they get an opportunity to play, they're really going to try to show us what they really can do. But at the same time, you don't want to run the score up, and definitely wasn't trying to do that. We was trying to run the ball and run some time off the clock. And so we start huddling up and doing those type things to kind of take some time off the clock. And so definitely we don't want to do that. And at the last possession, I thought we kneeled and for 4 downs, and then we took a delay for the punt. So just trying to get off the field. But the coach was very good about it. He understood everything, but just the idea of just playing football. All the time, sometimes it happens when it's on the other side too as well. We trying to stop them, and we can't stop them, and the store will get out of hand. But we definitely not trying to do that. But those young men were just trying to showcase themselves as well, and because who knows when they get a chance to play again, Charles. That was an opportunity for them to do it, and they did it. offensive line that we put in, they blocked steady and gave them holes to run in. So but they found them and was able to score.
Well, Chapman with a touchdown, 48 yards to make it 71-0. Another new name.
Yeah, that's another running back we have. He's a walk-on kid as well, Charles. And like I said, those guys really help us a lot during the course of practice, and being a part of this program is really good for us, Charles. And like I said, my hats off to those young men, because they don't have to be out there, Charles, but they consider themselves they're a part of this program, and we're gonna make them feel comfortable and do the things that everybody else do. So give them opportunity to play.
Then Russell came in at quarterback, 1 for 1 for 21 yards. So we talked about Noah, of course, Harper, Peyton. Talk about Jarman Russell.
Russell's going to be a steady quarterback for us, Charles. He's a very good learner. Listen well and do the things you asked of him. But the little things like that, he's coming into his own world now. He's passing the ball better and he's making his right reads. And I think Coach Pat is doing an outstanding job with those young men at the quarterback position.
So the final score, 78-0, as we talked about, the second most points in school history, the most in Jack Spinks Marino Castle Stadium history. The stadium opened in 1992. I guess the one blemish, we had our share of penalties, and we only had one against Georgia Tech, but we had quite a few, especially in the offensive line on Saturday.
Well, two of them was we got this thing with RPO, Charles, and run pass option, and instead of locking the run, we just called it and didn't lock it, so the offensive line went upfield 2-4, and we got two penalties on that, and one was a holding penalty on Kevin Hall. He just got to get better at that, and in those situations like that. But like I said, 4 from last week, and like I said, I told the guys coming into this week, I don't know what we're gonna get. So we ended up 8 penalties for 60 yards, and we just got to still know young men about the penalties and stuff like that, Charles. And hopefully we'll minimize those and correct that this week against Texas Southern.
381 yards rushing, 248 yards passing, 629 yards of total offense, if my math is correct. You look at Louisiana College, 20 carries, Coach, for a negative 26 yards. I know it was their first game, but how concerned were you about their running attack?
Well, I was concerned, and there's always concern when you have a good running attack, which they had in the past, and they've been averaging 37 points a game, Charles, in last year. So there was a very explosive offense, and I'm just glad that we didn't play down to their level, and we played up and physical, and I think that's what really wore them out. Their first ball game, we just out physical them in the part of attack, so it kind of helped us out a whole lot.
It's almost like when you're playing up 63 scholarships versus 85, then of course at the FCS level where we are at 63, and then when you go down to D2, is there a difference between that and what D2 scholarships offer?
Well, actually it is, and actually that's a D3 school there, Charles, and they don't have scholarships. It's all academic. And the thing in recruiting those Division III schools, you have to have a 23 ACT test before you even consider going to those schools, Charles. So my hat's off to those young men as well, because they are playing without scholarship money. So that's one of the biggest things that you have to look at when you're going to those Division III schools and recruiting those kind of players. So just thankfully we D1 and we get 6-3 scholarships here and able to find some of the greater kids that can come and play the sport.
We had 3 sacks on the afternoon, and the leading tackler, Coach Solomon Muhammad, with 4. That was the leading tackler, along with Creel Argue with 4 and Heron with 4. So many players got involved with tackles. When your leading tacklers is 4, that says a lot.
Just to show you how the guys ran into the ball, Charles, and you got those numbers spread out like that, and where one guy just got 4 and the leading tackle for it, everybody's trying to get around the ball, and that's good for our defense that they don't rely on one guy to make tackles. Everybody's swarming, and that's what Coach Thornton doing during the practice every day before practice starts. We do TTO swarm, team takeoff, and swarm to the football on the defense side. So we do a great job doing that, and it's going to continue. And those guys are going to play fast as they've been playing.
I thought it was a great atmosphere. The band was into it. The fans were into it. Just really staying engaged. And You know, when these games get out of hand, it's hard to stay focused. And football was one of those is one of those games. If you play fast, you could get hurt. Obviously, it's a physical game. But if you don't, if you kind of halfway go through it or go through the motions, you get hurt there too. I thought the team stayed pretty focused.
They did, and that's like I said, you know, it get out of hand and kind of get bored to everybody. And I hope all the games bored, no arcade Charles. You know, so hope we keep it bored to them. So we're gonna try to play the way we played, Charles. And like I said, you know, the guys they stayed focused and did what they had to do to come out and get this victory. I'm so proud of those guys where they played throughout the 60 minutes, of course, of the game, because easily when you get ahead, you can just say, well, we got this, and those guys stayed in tune, and even at halftime, you know, we talk about finishing it. And, that's what we did.
What do you say to your team when you're up? Or what did you say Saturday, being up? I mean, the game was in hand, just trying to get through it without getting anyone else hurt. What do you tell your team to just continue to stay and play?
Yeah, you got to stay focused and play as hard as you played the first half, because all the time when we go in, if we're up, we always talk about the 0-0. You just come out and play a better half than you did the first half.
All right, we'll take a break here. When we come back, we'll get to our SWAC report, and we'll hear from Mike Haywood, the head coach at Texas Southern University, as the Tigers, the Maroon Tigers, will invade Jack Spinks Marino Castle Stadium for a 6 o'clock kickoff. It's high school and community colleges day, so there'll be a lot of buses and a lot of folks on campus for the late kickoff. We'll take a break. We'll be right back after this timeout.
Auburn State University and the Trademark and Licensing Administration have joined to coordinate the placement of the university marks, both externally and internally, on items, shirts, caps, or other products. University licenses will only use those products which reflect positively upon the university and are engaged with the university's mission. The trademark and licensing of the Auburn State University insignia was established to protect the Auburn State University name and identifying mark. Trademark and Licensing Administration work to preserve and promote the university's long-standing reputation as a center of academic and athletic excellence. Merchandise vendors wishing to use the university's identifying marks on commercial products must be licensed vendors who have obtained permission to use Auburn State University marks by securing trademark licenses. Campus organizations that want university identifying marks on their internal use products must hire licensed vendors to produce these items. To learn more about the licensing and trademark requirements, visit www.auburnState.edu/trademark and licensing administration.
All right, welcome back to the Fred McNair Radio Show. Families First of Mississippi mission is to provide programs to improve the lives of families in the state of Mississippi. We connect the dots between services to erase barriers that prevent our state from being the best. When we put families first, we put Mississippi first. For more information, visit their website, Families First for MS. Families First for MS, that's all one word, .org. Together, we can strengthen families in Mississippi. Glad you can join us here on the Fred McNair Radio Show. We have a question from B.J. Jackson in Clinton, Louisiana. Text a question, and of course, you can text a question anytime, not just right before the show, any day of the week, and we'll get the questions on the show. Coach, we have big power running backs talking about P.J. Simmons and company. We need to get talking about the power running backs to get the tough yards this season. So we know what P.J. can do, but B.J.'s asking, talk about the other guys that can get you those tough ground and pound yards.
That's one thing that Trey Turner does so well, and that's why he's got such a forward lean, and he's going to get those tough yards. We was third down and one at one point, and we put him in, and he got the first down for us, and actually got 4 yards out of that carry. So we will grind it, and we're going to continue to do the things we do for this offense to be successful.
All right, so as we look at the SWAC report, going to games around the conference, some non-conference games, it was North Alabama 25, Alabama A&M 20, number 7 Auburn over Alabama State 63-9. It was Northwestern 34, Grambling 7, Louisiana Tech over Southern 54-17. Prairie View, again, playing well, scored 32 against Sam Houston State. They're the number 4 ranked team, Coach McNair, the FCS, 41-32. It was Jacksonville. They're ranked number 12, Jacksonville State over Valley, 71-0. Texas State over Texas Southern. We're going to hear from Mike Haywood coming up. The head coach of Texas Southern, as Texas State won 36-20. And a game that was delayed by weather, they got it in. UAPB over Cumberland, 55-0. Jackson State and Tennessee State canceled. Lightning and rain wash that one out, and I believe they're going to try to get some refunds to some folks starting on Friday for those who purchased tickets for that game. Games in the conference on this Saturday: Alabama State at Kennesaw, Prairie View playing at UNLV, Grambling playing their first home game of the season as they host Pecan College, Jackson State at Florida A&M, Alabama A&M playing at Cincinnati, UAPB playing at South Dakota State, and the Pete Richardson Classic will feature Langston playing at Southern. That's going to be a good one, I think. So, Coach, as we get ready for the grind of the SWAC teams kind of winding up their non-conference slate, and things will start to take shape here in a few weeks.
It will, Charles, and that's one thing about it. It'll earn itself out. Hopefully, when everything's all said and done with, so we'll be in the thick of things, and that's what our intention is as coaches, to get this program and keep them in the championship form.
So they say the biggest improvement in football during the course of the season is from week 1 to week 2. Where were your team's biggest improvements from week 1 to week 2?
I thought just the physical element of the whole thing, Charles, the physicality of it, and the speed of the game. I thought the speed of the game very well, and the way we played fast on both sides of the ball, and they're just coming from the Georgia Tech game. That's what you get from that Georgia Tech game, the speed of it. I thought the guys really put out the speed of the game.
So we'll take a break here. We'll make the turn, and we'll hear from TSU head coach Mike Haywood. He'll join us coming up next. He'll talk about his team's team lost to Texas State. We'll talk about what we can expect from his ball club as they come here on Saturday, and then we'll get Coach McNair's thoughts on the Maroon Tigers. We have time for questions, text, and tweets. Give us a call, 601-877-6595. We'll take a 1-minute break, and we'll be right back. Coach Mike Haywood, the head coach of Texas Southern, will join us after this 1-minute timeout here on the Fred McNair Radio Show.
So you haven't washed your lucky socks since that fourth quarter comeback 5 years ago. At C Spire, we get it. You'll do anything to help your team win, just like anything we do is inspired by you. We're your biggest fan. Lucky socks and all. From business to home to wireless, our inspiration is always you. C Spire, customer inspired. Step up to number 1 and get Amazon Prime on us. Details at cspire.com.
It's important to plan ahead for emergencies, like the storm. When it kicked in, we had a plan. We were able to get in touch with each other in no time. How to find each other. The whole experience was the most frightening 10 hours of my life. If there's one piece of advice I'd offer other moms out there, it's to stay calm and ignore the plan.
Message. Some parents plan ahead, some don't. Make sure you know where to find your family in an emergency. Visit beready.iowa.gov. Brought to you by Ready Iowa, FEMA, and the Ad Council.
Coming up on Saturday night at 6 o'clock, it's High School and Community Colleges Day here on the beautiful campus of Alcorn State University as the Braves get set to take on Texas Southern University. Texas Southern lost to Texas State down in San Marcos last Saturday. Trying to deal with some quarterback issues and injuries, and to talk all about it is Texas Southern head coach Mike Haywood. He joins us here on the program. Coach, we appreciate your time here as your team gets ready to come to Alcorn on Saturday.
Thank you very much. Looking forward to coming to Alcorn and playing a good football game.
Well, your team obviously playing a tough Texas State team on Saturday. Of course, we know to be successful, you have to have a healthy quarterback, and you've had some quarterback issues in terms of trying to keep guys healthy there.
Yeah, Glenn Coulier went out with a concussion and wasn't able to play this week, so we started the game with Jay Kristoff, and Jay went in and did a solid job. However, we were unsuccessful to get the victory and protect him a little bit better this past week than we did Glenn in the first week. So we're looking forward to Glenn coming back and being the starting quarterback this week.
And then you've got probably one of the better running backs, I think one of the unsung heroes in the backfield in this conference in Woodard. Talk about that.
Well, we haven't been able to get the run game going yet. We're going to try some different things this upcoming week. But Brad Woodard's a good tailback for us. He's done a really good job, but he also does a good job in pass protection. We got Tyler Cook in the backfield. Then we have a new tailback that transferred in from Rice at the end of the summer, Antonio Fatete, who got some playing time this past week. and then Terry Brown, who's a scat back for us. And those are the guys that got most of the playing time the other day, along with Dove, also a transfer from UTEP. But Brad Wood is the starter for sure.
So when you look at you look at your team's defense, Coach, just talk about where you are defensively. Is it early in the season? Does the defense outpace the offense, or the other way around in the early part of the season?
Well, in our case, our defense is farther ahead than our offense, and playing pretty good football overall. The thing that we have to do is that we have to do a better job of fitting against the run, and we have to do a much better job against the zone read, making sure that we take the appropriate guy and force the ball in the direction in which we want it to go, and not give up contain to the quarterback. So, in which we're going to face this week, and so we're just going to have to make sure that we do a good job in the things in which we do with the zone read package.
The old adage, and I ask this, the biggest improvement in football on a football team is from week 1 to week 2. You've been around this game a long time. Is that usually the case?
Yes, sir, it is. I think we got a lot better this past week, but I think that we're going to get better this upcoming week as well.
So you look at this game coming up, Coach, and we talked at Football Media Day in the last couple of years when Alcorn and Texas Southern get together. It's usually down to a play or two that has swung the pendulum either way. The last couple of years we've been pretty fortunate. 2 years ago, I think special teams played a factor here as you came here on our homecoming. Last year, P.J. Simmons, had some very patient, some very active runs. But it's really been nip and tuck between these two teams. What do you expect? And, well, first of all, what do you see in this Alcorn team when you look at it in 2018?
Well, I see that they're being able to run the football as they normally do, running some of the zone read things in which they do, and the RPOs with the quarterback. And I think that they're doing a really good job. The tailback is really a good football player. And we're going to have to do some different things to try to stop him, along with trying to stop this RPO and force him into drop-back passing, and then keeping him in the pocket because he can beat you with his feet. Defensively, they're playing more 4 down. They play a little 3 down with some 4-eye techniques. Mostly in the last game, they played some 4 down and played some quarter coverage. But, the history of the new defense coordinator is that he's going to blitz you and he's going to blitz you. So we have to be able to pick up the blitz. So we have multiple blitz packages in which we're putting in to pick up the different blitz and twists in which he's done in the past and which he's doing now.
Coach Haywood, we appreciate you coming on with us. All right, so that's Coach Mike Haywood's thoughts on us. Coach McNair, give us your thoughts on Texas Southern. It's like pulling teeth trying to get by these guys. The last couple of years, they've had some injuries at the quarterback position. They've got it again, as he talked about. So what do you expect from this Texas Southern team coming off the Texas State game?
Offensively, they're going to come in and try to pound the ball on Charles, and they do have a great running back in Woodhall. He's running the ball very hard, and Kristoff, he's a great passing quarterback. So we have to really bottle them guys up, and I got a great receiver core, and Dixon and Buchanan. So we got to hold those guys down, but offensively, they're going to come in and try to pound the ball. They're going to get in the 12 personnel and just try to run it down our throat. So we just got to be prepared for that. We got to do our job in the trenches and containing those guys. So defensively-wise, I can't really tell you, Charlie, they're going to be on 3-4. They're going to be on a bar front. They're going to be on a 4-man front. So they got a really good linebacker core. The linebackers is a distinguished part of their defense, and they make the plays. I think the D-line is kind of take care of the front, and the linebackers swarm and make plays. And so they're really good at the linebacker core. So they got a free safety to come down and put the hat on you too. So defensive-wise, they're going to be pretty solid, Charles. We just got to make sure that schematic on offensive-wise, we got to be ready for them and whatever they give us up front. So we don't really know, but we know that they're a multi-front team. And so we got to prepare for 3-4, a bar front, a 4-2, over, under. So we just got to make sure that we're doing the right things. I think Coach Tanchek is doing a great job of getting that where we need to have. That's what they've been planning. So we just got to be prepared this week.
When you look at TSU the last couple of years, it's been nail biters. I mean, it hasn't been easy. I think special teams, we have to be prepare for that. I think we gave up a 96-yard, a 94-yard kickoff return there last year, so they're going to try to flip the field on you. So talk about special teams, the special teams coverage, and how we've covered punts and kickoffs the first 2 games.
Well, by design, the way it's kicked is for one. Directional kicking is for one, the way you're going to try to do it, Charles. And that's what we've been doing in the past 2 games, is trying to get some directional kick to where we kind of ball them in on sideline. And hopefully that will be the answer to that. We get everybody squeezed down and cover their lanes and things of that nature. So hopefully Corey does a great job of putting the ball in place where we want it to go, so we can have a chance to cover it. But other than that, we just got to play solid and be aware of all fakes and things they're going to present. So Coach Haywood is good about doing all kind of fakes and gadgets on special teams. So we got to make sure that we're prepared for that during the course of this game. It may happen any time during the course of the game. So we just got to be solid on special teams.
One thing about Coach Haywood and talking with him this summer, he recalls the last 2 Alcorn Texas Southern meetings, and just like he just told us, he remembers the play, exactly what happened, how it happened, and what didn't happen. I mean, as a coach, you have that type of photogenic memory where you know exactly what cost you the game, what played, how it happened, and what didn't happen. So it's just amazing how, as coaches, you all remember those little small, minute things.
You have to be on those things, Charles. That way you won't just come up and get you the next time. So just speaking in terms of that, as coaches, that's what we're here for. We acknowledge every game, and as coaches, you never seem to forget some of the things that happen to you as a coach, especially when it's come down to the crunch time.
So now, Coach, from here, the only other non-conference tilt is at New Mexico State. That's in November. So even though this game doesn't count in the 7 conference games, it's against a SWAC opponent, and a pretty decent one at that. And Texas Southern's given us fits the last couple of years, so it should be interesting.
Oh yeah, it's going to be a good game, Charles. And hopefully we'll come out on top, and hopefully be more prepared than they will on all phases of the game. And I think that this week we got our work cut out for us. We got to battle with the elements and the things, the rain, and the rest of the week. Hopefully we're glad to get one in today, Charles. By the grace of God, He spared us today to get a workout in today. So I had to watch the weather and kind of flip practice schedules and everything. So we're going to do that and do what it takes to get the guys out on the field so they can learn some more football at this Texas Southern.
One of the coaches said that you're saying is in spite of. Get it done in spite of the weather, get it done in spite of injuries, get it done in spite of whatever.
And that's what we carry, Charles, in spite of. And that's one of the things that we talk to the players about. Sometimes they talk about what we don't have. I say, in spite of, we're going to get it done. So that's what we're going to hang our hat on. And hopefully guys just keep playing the way they've been playing and keep rallying to the football and execute.
Speaking of the weather, our thoughts and prayers are with the folks on the East Coast because a major hurricane is going to be a monster when it hits the Carolina coast come Thursday night. I mean, they're talking about catastrophic damage, and I don't know if you know folks along the Carolina, Virginia coast, but a whopper is coming.
Yeah, old Florence, she's rolling. So hopefully, just have this send out prayer for those guys and those families in those areas that when they hit, that everything work out to be okay for them, because we had a tough storm come through here, and we have to just pray and hope that the Lord just take care of them and keep them safe.
Finally, Coach, how important is it to get this win? We got 2 in a row on the road, at Southern on their homecoming, at Valley at night. So we get this one, feel really good about ourselves before we hit the road.
It's very important, just to get a win before you go on the road. Always, Charles, just for the team wise and the camaraderie of the team, and just keep them upbeat. And I think that they know what's at stake here, Charles. Before we get on the road, and I think they're gonna come out and play hard and the way they've been playing in the last week or so. So we're gonna continue to do what we do as coaches to get them prepared to play, and hopefully on Saturday they go out and execute everything we got them.
Kickoff at 6 o'clock, another night game, the second of 4 straight night games. Coach, we appreciate it. We'll talk to you next week.
All right, thank you, Charles.
That's Braves head football coach Fred McNair. Let's go, Braves. Let's get our second in a row as Alcorn takes on Texas Southern. We'll have the kickoff at 6 o'clock, pregame at 5:30. We'll get a TSU preview from Larry Chatterbox Hale of the Texas Southern Radio Network. We'll talk a little volleyball. The Lady Braves volleyball team got a win last week, and we'll talk volleyball at halftime of the game on Saturday. Don't forget, you can tweet a question anytime at Tall Man Radio. We'll talk to you next week for another edition of the Fred McNair Radio Show. We'll recap the Texas Southern game and look ahead to Mississippi Valley. That's coming up next Saturday night at Rice Titan. That'll do it for the Fred McNair Radio Show. I'm Charles Edmond. So long, everybody.